Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and today's mailbag was filmed on Friday, so if anything happens in the meantime, just keep that in mind. Now, my birthday is going to be on February 20th, and all I want to be able to achieve is to hit 134,000 subscribers. We're somewhere around 350, 400 away. I haven't checked the math, but if you appreciate the show, all I ask you to do is hit that subscribe button. Let's go to this one. Is Derek the Raider. Waller jerseys are 50% off. Is he getting traded? I've talked about this before because I know a lot of people were taking pictures of the Waller jerseys at Raider Image, and a lot of people were like, shit, is he going to get traded? The answer to that is potentially, right? Like any player at any given moment can be dealt. The two players that are always linked for the Raiders in terms of trades from NFL media, Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller. I just think with Foster Moreau being a free agent, and then on top of that, if you move on from Waller, your only tight end left on the roster is Cole Fotheringham. And for a lot of people, they're like, who? What'd you just say? God bless you. I just think I know this offense wants to be able to work with tight ends, and they want to be able to run two tight end sets. So, yeah, I do think there's a chance you could bring in somebody like Mercedes Lewis or some good tight ends in the draft. I would say that there is a 90% chance that Darren Waller is on the Raiders this upcoming season. But we did hear the reports in the offseason about the Green Bay Packers potentially offering a second-round pick for Darren. We've heard Darren's name being mentioned in trades before. My question to you is this. I'm live right now talking about deals. If the Raiders were to get a second-round pick for Darren Waller, would you do it? Type T for trade, or I want you to type P for pass. Let's go to Carlos, 47. Carlos, you got to go to Carlos 1,000. Seeing people say don't draft Stroud because he's from OSU and tank for Caleb, but is tanking for a USC quarterback really much better than drafting an OSU quarterback. The way that I would rank the quarterbacks in this year's class and next year's class, I would have Drake May at number 1, Caleb Williams at number 2, Bryce Young at 3, CJ Stroud at 4 in terms of the top 4 guys. People only say that because Ohio State has great offensive line. They have great weapons all around him. And there is risk in taking Stroud, no doubt about it. But Caleb, there's also risk in taking him. There's risk in taking any quarterback ever. Let's go to Killer Cruisin'. How likely to still have A-Rod becoming, he's in the restroom, can't have this. Welcome to the nation, Richie. What news do we have on Jacobs and Ramsey and A-Rod? A-Rod's still in his darkness retreat, though there was a report out there that apparently the Green Bay Packers are willing to move on from Rodgers and that they are comfortable with Jordan Love. It's kind of interesting that also on the same weekend, Derek Carr, he's going to visit the New York Jets. Definitely something to think about. Josh Jacobs, the franchise tag window, that opens on February 21st, which is Tuesday. So hopefully when I'm live on Tuesday, we get some good news. Jalen Ramsey, I put out a video yesterday, and there's at least a chance that he could potentially get released because the Rams want to save a little bit of money. Let's go to Tim Nelson. Assuming we don't get Rodgers, what do you think of this? Take Will Levis and play him right away. If he shows potential and does all right, we keep him. Otherwise, we're in range for Drake or Caleb. I have said this before. I've brought up this point before in terms of you could take Anthony Richardson, you could take Will Levis at 7, and if it ends up working out, great, because they're such high prospects in terms of upside that if it works out, you're not going to need to draft a quarterback. And if it doesn't, I think that their floor is so low that, yeah, you're probably going to be in the top 5 picks next season. The only thing that this comes down to is whether or not Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler have that extra year. If they have to win right now, you're not going to bet your future on one of those two young rookies. If they know that they have a long leash and that they could potentially get back in 2024, I still don't even know if they take Levis or they take Richardson. If I was them, I would just stock up on as many picks as I could to either get the guy I want next year or just take as many good players as I can this season and then try to do everything in my power to trade up for one of those guys next year. So one of the terms that we always use here on the Raiders Report is RO4L. It stands for Real One for Life. I know Raider Nation takes a lot of pride in being the best damn fans out there, and I really, truly believe that. So I know most people say Raider Nation for life. This, though, if you're a real one, it means you're subscribed to the Raiders Report and you bleed silver and black. So if you're a real one and you want one of our Real One for Life shirts, you can go to the link that you see below. It's also going to be in the comments and in the description of today's video. Real One for Life, Real One roll call. Where you at? Spam RO4L if that's you. Let's go to a definite real one. It's Brandon Jasper. We kicked butt in our mock draft over on Locals. Join for the best content, personal interaction, weekly pick'ems, and more live shows. If you haven't already seen, Brandon, I actually posted our mock draft on my Twitter, at Mitchell Renz 365, and I told people to grade it. Essentially what we did, we traded for Aaron Rodgers, and we got a first-round pick back in 2024. I like what we did over there, and if you want to go check it out, it is on my Twitter. It is also on Locals. Let's go to the greatness of the Raiders. Richie, welcome. Happy birthday, Mitch. Greatness, we appreciate you. Me and my dad, we salute you. Let's go to Luis Rodriguez. Mitch, he's been drinking longer than you. He got this. He has been drinking longer than me. He's got a few years on me. He's doubled my years. However, though, when it comes to Fireball, I'll take pound for pound. I'm the top Fireball drinker in the world right now. At least that's what my ranking would be. Chugs has got boots, though. Maybe if we got some Jack Daniels Tennessee Fire, he just gave me a big old thumbs up. That's his drink of choice. If you ever see him out in public at Raiders games, Jack Daniels Tennessee Fire. Let's go to W_IID45. He makes more money than I do, so I can afford Fireball, and that's what he sips on. You seem confident the Raiders will have to trade up for Stroud. Will Levis or Florida quarterback be there at 7? I have actually talked to a lot of people in the whole draft realm. I think there's a better chance that Will Levis, C.J. Stroud, and Bryce Young are all gone by the time the Raiders pick at 7. So if you wanted your guy, you'd probably have to go up to 3. And then there's even a scenario where if you're the Chicago Bears, worst case scenario for the Raiders, Indianapolis Colts trade up to 1. Because if the Colts trade up to 1, they're taking a quarterback. And then if you're at number 2, if you're Houston, you're probably going to take quarterback too. So if you're the Raiders, I mean, it's a really sticky situation. I like Will Levis. I like Anthony Richardson in terms of upside. In terms of highest upside, it's Richardson. In terms of who I think the Raiders have a better chance of winning right away, it would probably be Will Levis. So if you had to pick one, would you rather trade up for Stroud, or let's just say you stay at number 7 and you take Anthony Richardson? What would you rather do? Trade up for Stroud, let's say to get to number 3 with the Arizona Cardinals. That's probably equivalent to your first-round pick, your second-round pick, your third-round pick, and a first-round pick in next year's draft to get Stroud. Or do you stay at 7 and you take Anthony Richardson? Makes it very, very interesting, no doubt about it. Let's go to Mike. Mike, happy B-Day. Much love to you. My birthday is on the 20th of February, which I'm actually off for, but don't worry, still get you guys 2 videos going out that day. Let's go to Klissman. Happy birthday, Mitch. Will Levis is growing on me. Giggity. He has arguably the best upside. Stroud is intriguing, but not sure about him. I mean, Stroud, you can be unsure about. Like, I totally get that. I will admit this. If Stroud played for any other team, I would say besides Ohio State, people would be a lot more confident on him because he's got the size, the arm talent, the accuracy. He's a good pocket passer. Like, he does a lot of that stuff that you're looking for in terms of a prototypical NFL quarterback. But it's that Ohio State helmet, so people are scared because of all the failures that they have had at that position. And then you look at Will Levis. He does. He's got the biggest arm in the draft. He, size-wise, is going to get comped to Josh Allen a lot. And every NFL team in the world, if you're saying, hey, right now, Will Levis is going to be the next Josh Allen, you're going to take him. I put out this video earlier in the week comping Will Levis to Josh Allen. And as you can see, the numbers-wise, Levis, his final year at Kentucky, was a lot better than Allen. It's just Allen worked with Brian Dable. He was a project, and they were patient with him, and he turned out to be pretty freaking solid. Height, weight, it's all the same. Wingspan, arm length, hand size. When you look at these two players, they do. Spider-Man emoji, meme, whatever you want to call it, they are extremely similar. The question is, do you trust Josh McDaniels to be able to find that upside in Will Levis? I'm sorry, I don't. Let's go to Luis Antonio. Mitch, gotta put you on the spot. Thoughts on Wicks? So, I got it. Oh, what's wrong? Fireball's in the way? All right, so in terms of this guy right here, Jeremy's told me to look at him before. This past season, 30 catches, 430 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's the year before that he had a little bit of a better year, 57, 1,209. I personally don't see a lot of upside in drafting Wicks where he might potentially go. But then the other part of this, I just think the way that this Raiders team is going to operate is they're going to bring in older receivers. And this just goes back to me just really, really, truly believing that the Raiders are going to have Aaron Rodgers as their quarterback. Historically, Rodgers has liked to have older receivers. If I was Las Vegas, I would just re-sign Matt Collins. He's probably going to be like $2 million. Wicks is an interesting prospect, but where exactly are you going to get him? That would be my question. Let's go to Rusty Nail. If there is anything good about the outcome of the Super Bowl, maybe that your family and friends who are Philly fans now have a similar hatred for the ketchup and mustard. I think like the Chiefs are the one team right now that everybody doesn't like, but it's because it's jealousy. Everybody wishes they had Patrick Mahomes. Everybody wishes that they had Andy Reid as a head coach. Everybody wishes that they went to 5 straight conference championships. I know this, though. Philly, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're not an Eagles fan, they're very similar to Raiders fans. Like, that's the one thing I will respect about Philly fans. They are very similar to Raider Nation, where if you're not one of us, believe me, you're gonna know about it. So did the Eagles get robbed in the Super Bowl this year? I'm going to be honest, this question is not from me. It is from Jeremy, because he's asked just about every single person under the sun if they got robbed in the Super Bowl. Did they get robbed? No. Was it an unfortunate call? Yes. Let's go to Jersey Boy Greaser. Trade Renfro and a third-round pick for Rodgers. Keep Stidham at backup. Get Cobb, tag Jacobs, draft Skoronski, sign Payne and Bradbury, sign Ramsey if he gets cut. I mean, here's the problem, Jersey Boy Greaser. I don't know if Trivan's going to be giving money to Mark Davis, because that's the only way they're going to be able to afford all this. Like, it's going to cost more than Renfro and a third-round pick. I don't think it's going to cost the first-rounder for Aaron Rodgers from people who I've talked to, and I've said that for about a month now. And now you're seeing even more NFL reports come out there because Rodgers has apparently a team in mind. It's the Raiders. But to do all of this, like Deron Payne, Bradbury, that alone per year that's $32 million against the cap. Ramsey's going to be $20 million. There's $52. Rodgers is going to cost a lot of money. Tagging Jacobs is $10.9. There's just not quite enough money to get all of this done. It would make the Raiders a hell of a team, but there's not quite enough money. Let's go to Kale. Happy birthday. I'll be surprised if they can get Aaron Rodgers. They need to do something with JJ now. Let's just one baby. I know the Raiders for a long time have been waiting to win football games, and that's why I'm in the mindset of let's actually try to win right now. It's so difficult to win in the NFL, and you see a lot of times teams like, oh, we'll tank, and it don't work out. And then you're in a losing cycle over and over and over again, and I think the Raiders have been in this losing cycle for a very long time. I also believe that building a winning culture is contagious, and once you start building a winning culture, you get more players that want to come into this team. I mean, I think what the Rams have been able to do in terms of F those picks, let's just go get guys that we know can ball out. Sure, this past season did not work, but if you're telling me right now I can get a Super Bowl from doing that mindset, I would try to do it. I'm telling you right now, I believe Aaron Rodgers is a lot more likely to come to the Raiders. I'm more confident in Rodgers coming to the Raiders now than what I was on Brady coming to the Raiders back with free agency. That's how confident I am in it. Let's go to the Michigan Football Report with James Yoder. If the Raiders draft Stroud, this channel is being changed to the Oakland A's Report. So, I think this just hurts our boss's feelings that our number one show would be ran by essentially an Ohio State quarterback. But if it doesn't work out, though, we can at least rip on Ohio State a little bit more. Draft J.J. McCarthy. Yikes. Let's go to Klissman. Also, my B-Day is on the 21st, so cheers to you. So your birthday's on the 21st. My cousin Tori, her birthday is on the 21st of February. Actually, the Michigan Football Report with Yoder over there, his birthday's on the 19th. So if you want to guess his age, I'm sure he's going to love that I'm talking about this. You can do that down in the comments. Let's go to Harry99. Mitch, give me a scenario where we get Bryce Young. My dad just said none. I'll say this. I think Indianapolis is one of those teams where Bryce Young, he's not going to do well in terms of the stature. He's 5'10", he's 180 pounds. He had a shoulder injury this past year. What happens in this scenario where the Indianapolis Colts, Jim Irsay, they like big quarterbacks. They took Andrew Luck. They had Peyton Manning. I could see the team most likely to trade up to number 1 to take Will Levis is Indianapolis. So Indianapolis goes up to number 1. They take Will Levis. The Houston Texans take C.J. Stroud at number 2. And now there's a scenario where Bryce Young, where does he go exactly? What team makes the move? I think if that scenario were to happen, I could see the Raiders trading up to number 3 and selecting Bryce Young. Now, y'all, I want to say thank you to everyone who has sent in a super thanks. And if you don't know how to send in a super thanks, I'll explain it here in just a second. But a major shout out to Christopher Leonard, C-Hop, Paul, Postel, Mark, Zilstra, and Married Maniacs. I know not all of y'all can join our live show, so just to see that you're willing to support it and help this thing grow, believe me, y'all are part of my family, and I want you really to recognize that. In terms of how to send in a super thanks, it's literally just like a super chat. I'm just not live when it happens. You can donate outside of the show. You click on the thanks icon. It looks like the heart with the dollar symbol. We appreciate your support here, not only for the Raiders Report, all Chat Sports channels. And yes, if you send in a super thanks, you are guaranteed to get a shout out. If you need more questions answered, you can always hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, at Mitchell Renz 365. And don't be afraid to join all the real ones over on Locals at RaidersReport.locals.com.